Hi. Hi. Hi, Andrea. Hear me? Hi everybody. Should we wait a little bit more? We're 14 people more or less. Well, let's get started anyway. Hi, thanks for being around. As usual, this has been a little chaotic, short notice and kind of improvised thing, so I apologize already for the lacking and the mistakes that I'll make along the way, but hopefully it will be good enough to get you started in becoming a good user in TiddlyWiki. I'm going to start. You have on-screen TiddlyWiki already, and I can actually. Okay. No, that would be here. Hold on a sec. I'm learning as I go along here. Okay, I can move this one over here, so we can have that better over on the other side, more or less. Okay. So basically, I'm going to be explaining the real basics of TiddlyWiki. What it does, what it's for, what I kind of use it for myself, and what I would expect the company to be using it for. So we start here with the presentation of the things that I want to cover, which is why we should use a wiki instead of a Google Docs or a word processor, where I think we should use a word processor. Okay, so we kind of just established the use cases for each tool, and then we'll get into TiddlyWiki itself, get some basic concepts of how it works and the basic ideas you need to get it working, and then I'll probably just be playing around and trying to show you things as I can. Then we'll talk a little bit about some extensions, and I'll give you some references and things that you can check. Okay, and let's start by talking about that wiki thing. Okay, if we look at Wikipedia and we look for the definition of what is a wiki and what is an office suite like Google and a mind map, which I find also very related in the same kind of concept that we're going to see here. The official definition says that an office suite is a bundle of productivity software that makes you more productive, and that usually they are all integrated and to some extent, I mean at a minimum they're going to have the same kind of UI look and feel work, but usually you are very capable of moving information from one productivity application to the other. So if you're in Google Docs, you can actually make a painting and then move it over to Google Docs or even to Excel sheet very easily. So it's kind of like one big application. On the other hand, a wiki is a hypertext publication environment. That means that it's HTML based. It's kind of the native web environment that you're looking for. So it's kind of an extension of what the initial World Wide Web idea was, where you kind of just had a whole bunch of different websites all easily connected between each other. And but the definition, when I read this yesterday, because I actually prepared this yesterday, it says there, publication collaboratively edited. That means that more than one person can work on it. Google Docs and other similar environments have that covered, because we can actually do a Google Docs and share it with a whole bunch of people and work on it at the same time. So at that point they are kind of similar in the sense of functionality. Wiki contains multiple pages for the subjects or scope of the project, and it could be either open to the public or limited to use within an organization. Up to there, we could still be using Google Docs for that. But the real important part comes now, and it says, and it's for maintaining knowledge. And that is the whole point of the wiki. In a document, in a Google Doc or a word processor, you usually have something that is cohesively related. It's kind of like an essay, a book, something like that, where you kind of show one concept or one topic to some different levels of extent. of profound detail. But in a wiki, you have a whole bunch of knowledge, different kinds of knowledge, different ideas, all spread it apart, linked, not linked. It doesn't matter if they're related, if they're not. You just kind of push all of that information in there and natively relate the information through links and through concepts more than through one cohesive body of knowledge. That is where this thing really shines. And that, because that's how your mind works also. Your mind is all full of ideas, all full of things that are flowing through your mind constantly, all the time, just, bundling up on top of each other, sometimes getting in your way, most of the times actually getting in your way. But the incredible part about your brain is that it's capable of establishing relations where you didn't even know they were, just because your brain actually can see those things. And the wiki is kind of similar. All of a sudden you are just throwing the ideas in here. You don't have to worry about having them nicely formatted or anything. You just kind of accumulate them in there, and they relate, and they are easy to find, and it's like an extension of your brain, really. Anyway, so for me, that the change is the difference is there. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use Google Docs. Google Docs is an incredible, or Google Docs or Microsoft One or whatever. I mean, they're all the same. They are incredibly powerful and useful tools, but they have a goal. Like any tool, they have a use case. They have a thing where you actually have to use them for. Okay, that thing is actually creating a book, or creating an essay, or creating a really nicely formatted report to send to somebody, because you have that fine granularity of pixel perfect or almost pixel perfect layouts, which you don't have in a wiki. For those use cases, definitely use Google Docs. Okay, I mean, spreadsheets are an incredibly powerful tool. Don't use them as a database. Don't use them to do your invoicing. Use them for what spreadsheets are really good at. I mean, relating the information and doing tabular views and calculating things from one cell to the other. Very good. Yes, that's what spreadsheets are for. But don't use the spreadsheet as your CRM. No, use a database-backed website. Okay, and the same happens with the Google Docs. If you need to use Google Docs, it's because you have to use that use case, and that is not sharing information. Sharing information with the rest of the team, with yourself, where you can actually look for that information and keep it in your mind and search for it easily and get it when you need it. That's a wiki. That's what wikis are for. So basically, that's what is really important about the mindset that I want to transmit here. Okay, it's not about TiddlyWiki. It's about any wiki. You can use any wiki you want. I started using wikis many years ago. I read a very interesting book that changed my mind about all of this and kind of got me into the mindset of understanding the difference between a wiki and the word processor world, which I came from at that moment. And I've been using wikis for many years, different ones. TiddlyWiki, I have to admit, that has surprised me a lot. It has given me a very satisfying experience, and I am really trusting it a lot to help me memorize and keep information that I need. So I find it a very interesting tool, because it actually isn't just a wiki, it's a little bit more. At this point, just wanted to comment about the mind maps in this journey that I kind of just took you through, where I kind of was saying that I started with word processors many years ago, and then I went to wikis. At one point, I started using mind maps. Mind maps are something like this, where you have a central idea, and you can easily add more ideas to that. You kind of just insert, and you can add more information, and you can kind of click. And this kind of structure is really a powerful tool also. It's basically, it shines when you're trying to brainstorm and organize your ideas on something. So it's really powerful for that. TiddlyWiki doesn't do that very well, but TiddlyWiki has, on the other side, it actually pushes all of those ideas all together into the wiki, and then it gets you the relation out. It's kind of a different focus or orientation. Mind maps are really also very powerful, and we could talk about them in another sense, because I'm not going to go there right now. but they are also something that helps you organize your mind and structure your ideas, which is what wikis are all about. Okay. As you notice, I am using TiddlyWiki to do the presentation. I could have used Google presentation slides or OpenOffice things, but I'm actually using TiddlyWiki itself. So TiddlyWiki can take us very far away. Okay. Hold on a second. Yo tengo 22 personas en línea. Estoy emitiendo un vídeo en directo. ¿Os parece? Sí, os lo he dicho. So, okay, but basic, okay, I actually did this one already. And, okay, TiddlyWiki. It's a tool for organizing information and taking notes, stores and relates information in a non-linear but structured way. Just like your brain doesn't forget things. That's actually really, really true. As long as you make backups. Maintaining a well-organized TiddlyWiki requires a modest amount of effort. And this is where actually TiddlyWiki has its problems. And it's similar to the problems that CoreBoss has. Whereas you can install a CoreBoss very easily, but once you have it installed and you get to that login page, actually all of your problems start, because you actually have to start configuring everything and importing data, and you have a significant learning curve. And TiddlyWiki has that same kind of thing. It has a learning curve. It takes time to get used to the philosophy, to the idea of how it works. And that's a detriment. Most people like to just jump in and start working. But the payoff is incredibly valuable, really. If you dedicate a little bit of time to it, and you get over that learning curve, it is going to be extremely satisfying. So it's all about sending information in, relating that information, tagging, basically. So let's have a look at what TiddlyWiki is. First, I'm going to talk about installing it, because it is that's actually where the learning curve already starts. TiddlyWiki uses a curious approach to saving information. It's all in the browser. It's just a JavaScript application, so it lives in your browser, and you can edit and add and construct and configure anything you want. But when you want to save that information, what it does is that it downloads to your local computer the whole HTML and JavaScript that it created. So every time you make a modification, you get a new HTML file with all of the code and all of your changes. Okay, so that is curious, and it's a way of saving the information. You can consider that every time you press the save button, you download the whole wiki, you are actually making a version and a backup of that wiki, so you can go back in time just to any version just by opening another HTML file. You can easily send that whole wiki to somebody else, because you just send them the HTML file and they can load it in the browser. So it's actually that easy to move information around or to make backups. The problem is that after a very short amount of time, you end up with a directory all full of different copies, where the naming is kind of strange, because basically you just have a 1 or 2 or a sequential number after them, so you don't really know what you had at one point or what not at another. And it gets kind of messy, okay? But it kind of does work. So the thing is that that first install process, getting started, basically says, okay, yeah, how do you want to do this? Where are you working on? And here you have a list of different ways to save your information without having to do all of that file save thing. There are a whole bunch of ways of doing this. Basically, I would recommend the WebDAV, which is not very hard to configure and is very comfortable. You can also do that with CoreBoss. You can upload the TiddlyWiki to CoreBoss, and CoreBoss can do the WebDAV for you. So that isn't very difficult to do. The problem with WebDAV is that it has to be a personal wiki. In fact, in the definition that we had over here, the TiddlyWiki clearly says that it's a personal thing, and that is a downside on our company, because actually we want to work collaboratively. We want to work all together and kind of have that. There are some times where you want to have a tiddler, a piece of information that should be restricted. The access should be restricted to some, to some users in the same TiddlyWiki. Okay, so basically, I mean, that personal point means that once somebody has access to a TiddlyWiki, they have access to all of the information that's there. There's no way of saying this subgroup of tiddlers can only be seen by this other subgroup of users. Okay, that would be the ideal situation, where that way we could have one big TiddlyWiki with all of the tiddlers inside. But since we can't do that, we kind of proliferate TiddlyWikis, and we have more than one depending on the users that have to access. But if you have a TiddlyWiki for your own personal use, for example, which I do, I have my own personal TiddlyWiki besides the TiddlyWikis that we have running around in the company. That TiddlyWiki can be on a web dev server, because I'm basically the only person working there. But if I weren't the only person working there, and we were two, in fact, Desi and I learned that the hard way, I asked her to do some changes in my personal TiddlyWiki, and she accessed and she, made the changes, and then I went and I had it open and I saved and I trashed hers, okay, because it's not multi-user. Okay, it's actually just personal use. Okay, so that web dev is good if it's you alone. If it's not you alone and you actually need to work collaborative with other people, then we go with Node.js. Node.js install is probably the best way to get TiddlyWiki working. It's not very complicated. You download Node.js. There are some steps here. It's kind of easy. Really, you kind of follow these steps and it kind of just works. We haven't rarely had any problems at all with this kind of things. And it's the thing that I would recommend to use, actually. Even if you are alone, it's still useful. And in that environment, you get this kind of layout. It looks basically the same. The difference is that each tiddler is totally individual file on the server. So you can have different people working on different tiddlers at the same time, and everybody logged in at the same time and working at the same time, and you won't lose your information as long as you're not using the exact same tiddler. Okay, so getting the install process out of the way, which again, like I said, is already one of the hard parts. The next part is, okay, what does TiddlyWiki give us? What is the elements or the constructing blocks, the main concepts that it uses to actually work? The first part is the user interface that I'm going to get into. We have a nice graph that I stole from Grok, which I will talk about later. And it kind of shows you here what the main parts of a TiddlyWiki are. We have first the story river, which is called this. This is the central part here where I have these tiddlers, and I can scroll up and down. Okay, this is where the content and the knowledge is actually shown. Here on the right, we have the menu, where we have some quick actions besides the title and the stuff, quick actions, and a menu with things that we have. For example, we have a contents, table of contents, which can be totally personalized, a list of the open tiddlers, which I only have 2 right now, the last ones that have been modified by date. We have some tools here and more information and trash bin, whatever. So we have this kind of options here, this quick toolbar, the search bar, which we will talk about also later. So this part over here, this menu, which can be hidden and open, is basically where you execute the actions and the things that you want to do. While in the center, you have the stories of all the tiddlers you want to see. Each tiddler itself has a toolbar where you can edit it, duplicate it, delete it, close it. You have some other actions here where you can kind of get more information, open it, you can export them, which is very nice. You can actually export the whole tiddler and send a nicely formatted HTML file to anybody you want. So, new here. So basically, that is the idea, the layout. As I was saying, there are tilders. That would be the next concept that we're going to visit. Inside a tilde we have fields. Inside a tilde we have text, links. A tilde can have a tag, and we can filter all of those tilders together. Let's go see each concept step by step. Okay, tilders. Tilders are the unit of information in TiddlyWiki. It's the smallest, probably the smallest grouped set of information, because the field actually is inside the tilde. But anyway, it's the basically one concept, one idea, one thing that you want to track or save or register in your TiddlyWiki. Okay, there's some text here that says that why Tiddler, and basically it's saying because it's a word that doesn't really have any baggage at all. So it's a new concept, totally a new concept. So you don't relate it with any other concept that you have in your mind before. The important part about a tiddler is that in TiddlyWiki everything is a tiddler. The first time I heard this, it was from Jeremy, who may even be with us today, I don't know, and I didn't really understand. I mean, he said that everything is a tiddler, and that everything should be a tiddler, and the tiddler should be kind of fine-grained and as small as possible, and then you put them together into bigger tiddlers if you need to. And I didn't really understand that at that moment, and it's really an incredible approach. Basically everything in TiddlyWiki is a tiddler. I mean, absolutely everything you see on screen and everything that you work with are tiddlers themselves. It's an incredible idea, and it simplifies, I can imagine, simplifies a lot the code and the structure that he has created there, and it has really probably one of the pillars of the whole application. Keep that in mind as you go forward, because it will help you. You don't have to actually interiorize it now. It took me a while, but it will be valuable knowledge going forward. For now, a tiddler is basically one idea, one concept, something that you want to register in your application. Creating a tiddler is really easy. This plus button that we have over here, you click on it and it opens up this tiddler. You put here any title that you want. You can put any text that you want here. And we have here some other fields that we'll check later. You save, and I have a new tiddler in my TiddlyWiki. Basically that easy. Title and description. What is the concept? What is the idea that you want to save? Okay? Now, each TiddlyWiki, each tiddler actually has a set of fields. Those fields are, it has a set of default fields where you can see here that, for example, I am the person who created this one. That means that this tiddler has a created by field. We know the date of the last modification, so it has a last modified field in there. It also has a title field and a text field where I put the text. But if I open it, oops, what did I do there? If I open this one, you see down here that I actually have a section where I can add more fields. So I can add field 1 and give it a value, and field 2 and give it a value. As you can see, also it lets me see the set of default fields that are already around or existing on other tiddlers. So I can actually click on them. We have a whole bunch of them in there. Okay, anyway, you can create as many fields as you want. I can save this, and now they're not visible here, but I have that information here. So for those of you who know what schemaless database is, NoSQL type kind of thing, where you can actually save information in different batches or sections with a totally different schema from one to the other. So I mean, in a normal relational database, all of the tables have the same size, same number of columns, same number of types of information. All of those columns are the same. And if I insert a record, all of the records have the same columns, same stuff, everything nice, normal, perfect. In a schemaless the database, I don't have that. Every element that I put into the database can actually have a totally different structure from the element that I put before. Different number of fields, different number of values. It can be totally different. This concept of tiddlers and fields is exactly in that line. Each tiddler can have its own structure, own set of fields, own set of knowledge, any kind of information that you need, totally different from the tiddler that's next to it. So it's kind of like that schemaless approach, and that's very, very powerful. Actually, each tiddler is its own world and its own thing. So that's basically what I'm trying to explain here. Also, as a last note about the fields, that there is absolutely no difference between this field 1 that I put here and this text field that is native, or this title field that is native. Okay, the only difference is that the title, you have it always, and the field 1 you won't always have it. But internally, once I create this field, it's the same JSON object, it's the same JavaScript behavior, and they are just another field in the tiddler. Okay, so fields, you can actually change the structure of your TiddlyWiki very, very easily. Wiki text, what do we put in here? And that's where the fields come in now. Okay, in here I can put anything. This is kind of like a typical markdown. It's not markdown, it's wiki text. It's a different flavor of markdown, which is a little confusing, but I understand that when TiddlyWiki was created, markdown probably wasn't a thing yet, so now markdown would probably be the right thing to do. But anyway, if I want to make a list, this is called, I read that somewhere, we see what you see is what you mean. Anyway, basically you format things just like in markdown. Okay, so if I want to make a list, I just make a list with this 3, and I'm going to save this one, but we're going to show you another trick. I have a list here basically. These things are up here, many of them are already up here, so I can actually do 1, 2, 3, select all 3, and I can click on this button here and I get that same format for me. We can do bold, sorry, what did I do there? Oh yeah, we can do bolds, we can do italics, underscores, typical stuff. Okay, I mean, that's not any magic there really. So basically we can do a whole bunch of things here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to get into the wiki text and stuff, not really that important. We can do the typical stuff with JavaScript. I don't know what, alert. Hey, hello world. Yes. Yes, let's keep that one. Okay, so basically this knows how that looks. I'm going to click over here on this button up here. This is the show preview. Let's get rid of this for the moment, so I can actually see what is happening while I type. Okay, so you can actually do that also, really nice kind of thing. So you have all of these markdown features and all of that kind of really easy. What is also really nice about TiddlyWiki is that it understands HTML. So I can actually put here an input type password. And I actually have a password field here. So if you actually need to do some formatting and show something that you want to see on screen, you know, like you do a typical, I don't know, if you do a task and you say it should have what we are creating should have a look and feel similar to this, you can actually paste your HTML directly in there and it will actually render it and show it to you, because in the end we're in the browser and we're just generating HTML in the end. So you have that flexibility. You can go, it's not wiki text, it's HTML, but you can actually include HTML here that easily. Okay, so that helps, makes things sometimes it's nice to actually do that kind of thing and use, you don't have to remember exactly the wiki text how it would be done or whatever. Okay, links also work. We can do links various ways, but we're going to show put coreboss.org. But we can also put wiki text, which would be, we can actually put, I mean, TiddlyWiki is smart enough to actually recognize that, so we can actually put that like that. And we can also put this like this, https coreboss.org. That is an official link in TiddlyWiki, and that gives me the power to be able to put this like that. So I actually have Coreboss and the link behind it, so it's actually totally equivalent to this one. Okay, we can do a lot of things here. For example, we could create sample text. Let's put this one. Let's put Tiddler example 1. Probably getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. This one, close this one, let's save this one. I'm going to duplicate this one. All right, let's put this one here so we get the right name. And I'm going to duplicate this one. So I get Tiddler example 2, Tiddler example 2. Notice that since I'm duplicating, it actually brought in the fields, respected those for me. Now I have 2 tiddlers, and I can do a link from one tiddler to another. Should have this here, that's nice. So I'm in tiddler 1, and using the double brackets, I can link it. Double brackets are a link. Okay, I mean, if we look at the example I did before, where I put which I already trashed, well, fast, where I did the Coreboss thing. Yes. Okay, there are 2 links. The only difference is that this one is actually going to the internet, and this one is referencing another tiddler. So as you can see here, I can click on this one and it takes me directly there. If I close this one and I click on it, it opens it and it takes me there. Okay, so it's actually that easy to relate tiddlers between themselves. Okay, just linking them is really, really easy. Okay, there's also a camel case functionality, which I don't use too much. Don't like that one too much, but I will comment it also later. And another concept that I want to share here is the concept of transclusion. Not only can I link the tiddler, but I can bring in, instead of using brackets, I can use keys like this. And what I'm doing is bringing in the content of the other tiddler. So if I go to tiddler 2 and I edit this one and I add more content here, that content automatically appears here. These two lines here are actually the content, the description field of the other tiddler. Okay? Curious. Okay. How about the fields? What if I want to reference one of those fields there? What if I want to show those fields in the tiddler? Or, okay, searching on them and the like is also interesting, but let's see if I can actually, I mean, because if I save now, those fields are totally hidden. I don't even know that they're there. It's kind of hard to see them. So I can actually get those fields with this value here. I think it works like this. Okay, basically there I'm saying with that double exclamation points, I'm saying, okay, get that field, get the value of that field, and put it here. It's very similar to the transclusion idea. Transclusion, I'm bringing in the whole tiddler. In this case, I'm bringing in just one field. Okay, and I don't know if I can do this. Okay, following the same philosophy, here what I'm doing is bringing in field 1, but from the other tiddler. I'm saying, okay, go to tiddler example 2 and get the value of field 1 and put it here in this tiddler. Okay, you see that on the right? how that's going? Oh yeah, I don't have feedback here. Okay. Where is this one here? Okay, so no, where am I looking for? This one. Too many screens open. Okay, so that would be the idea of the content of the tiddler and how to get that information from the fields and the like. Let's see if I need to cover anything else here. TiddlyWiki uses markup language, that what you see is what you mean. In this type of editor, you see only plain text while editing, and then the output, the markup, actually gets formatted when you view it. Okay, special markups, wiki text, you can do HTML, you can do code, we can do widgets, and we can do transclusion. Okay, more or less I got those covered. I didn't talk about the widgets. There's another concept in TiddlyWiki, which is kind of widgets or macros kind of thing, and that would be like this. Corbos.org. Okay, no, then I'm missing something. Don't remember how that one is, and I didn't have time to prepare that. Okay, this one is here, and this one is here. See if I can find that one real quick, and if not, we can go on and discuss that later. Links, links, backlinks, linking, I don't remember. Widgets. Here you are. No, okay, I can't find it now. Okay, anyway, there is this concept here of widgets that you can use to create, that they kind of help you. They're kind of helpers, especially when you need to access values and it's kind of hard. I mean, if you need to access, for example, if instead of this field value one we had a URL, and you need to get the URL out of there and actually put it inside the link field, it gets a little complicated, and these widgets help you in that case, where you can actually use that transclusion here in the link, which is what I wanted to prepare, but I didn't have time to. Anyway, so basically the more you use it, the easier it gets. For me, basically the biggest problem I'm having with this kind of thing is that I never know where I am. If I'm typing in Mattermost, I have to use one format. If I'm typing in TiddlyWiki, I have to make another one. If I'm typing in GitHub, I have to type another one. And on Jitter, I have to type another one. And at the end, I never know what I have to do. But if you kind of just use the cheat sheets, kind of look online, and there are some places where you can reference and you kind of just recover the context and get it right. I mean, basically it's the only problem. The rest is kind of easy. Okay, here I'm talking about the links, how you kind of link information around, basically the double square brackets. Notice here that these double square brackets did not get converted into a link. Okay, so I mean, just to show you how that is done, I mean, if I add any double brackets and any text that I want here, and I close that, that will automatically become a tiddler, a link to a tiddler. In this case, it's slanted because TiddlyWiki is telling me that that tiddler doesn't exist. It doesn't exist yet, so it's kind of empty. So if I click on it, it will actually take me to an empty tiddler saying that that's missing until I edit it and create some content. But what I wanted to say is that if I want to actually show this and not get it formatted, which is exactly what happened here, we have to do the backtick, which is common almost everywhere now. If I do that backtick thing, all of a sudden that is not a link to an existing tiddler, but it's actually the verbatim text that I typed. Okay, so if you need to do that and show that, you can do that with the backticks. And that's how I did this one. And camel case is usually respected in the sense that if you put text in camel case, it will understand that you are trying to reference a tiddler. Okay, it's kind of like a link. Okay, that can be deactivated, but I don't really like it too much and don't use it, don't count on it much, but it is something you can use. Links define relationships. That's how you actually relate things. And as you can see, I've been clicking around from one link to another. It takes me from one tiddler to another. It's very easy to search for links, to search for tiddlers that are linked by or linking to. All of that information is very, very easy to obtain, and we'll talk about that next. And now we go to the tags. Tags are super important in TiddlyWiki, and they are also just a field in the tiddler. It's basically a multi-valued field where you have a bunch of labels and tags on each tiddler. But what happens, or where the importance of the tiddler comes, of the tag, sorry, comes into play, is that it's a mechanism for grouping tiddlers together. Said that way, it could be like a Twitter tag or the typical, Instagram hashtag thing, where you kind of group different publications or ideas or tweets into one relatable concept. But the tags, I mean, obviously the tags in TiddlyWiki do that, and you can use them for that. But the tags in TiddlyWiki also define a hierarchy between each other, and that permits you to have this kind of father-son, grandfather-grandson relation going down, which is really powerful and really, really, really nice and easy to use. For example, if we go to the contents, you see here that I have this core boss top level concept, and I can click on it and I have a whole bunch of tiddlers inside. So this is kind of that is based on the tagging mechanism in TiddlyWiki. So it's kind of easy to create a structure and relate your information using those tags, and then retrieve all of that information playing with that. The tags also serve the purpose of ordering, sorting things around, and exporting and importing. Is incredibly powerful. I'll talk about that hopefully when we get to sharing information between tiddlers. Tagging is really easy. You just put whatever you want here. I know, tag 1 and tag 2, and all of a sudden we have those tags there. I can save. Tags are presented as these little pills up here, and that's it. I mean, it's really that easy. Then it's all about the hard part about the tags actually is to get them right. I mean, defining a correct naming convention when you start adding tags, so that you can search on them and you can structure them and you can relate things together. That's actually the hard part, which is always the hard part, when you have to think. When you have to think and use your brain, that's when things get complicated. So I don't think we have anything else. I mean, we will see more about tags as we do the filters, which comes next. Okay. Tags are probably much more important than I just went over, but I don't want to make it too long, and it's already getting long. So filters. What are filters for? Filters are for searching among all of the information that you have. It's one of the most powerful concepts that we have in TiddlyWiki. It's also very complex, because you can create very complicated filters, and they get kind of hard to work with. I'm going to work here. This search box here, taking a step back, is a global search. You start typing and it will search for all of the information you have in there. So if I want to search for core boss, which is probably not a good concept because you have a lot of them, but still you can see here that I have a whole bunch of tiddlers that have core boss inside, and I can search for that and kind of easily find whatever I need. But if I want to use filters, I have to either go inside the tiddler or click on this advanced search button. This advanced search button will take me to the advanced search, obviously, where I can search for different types of tiddlers. Okay, but it also has this filter tab here at the end, where we can search for tiddlers using the filters. Filters are basically opened with a double bracket also, and we can put, let's try this one. Okay, that was searched for the tiddler that has core boss in the title. There's only one match, which is this one. That's how that tiddler works. On the other hand, if I want to search for tilders that have the tag Bordes, all of a sudden I have 409 matches in there. So this syntax here, where I'm saying element or where I want to search and what I want to search for, is how we filter. Okay, so the filters are kind of this syntax where you have the double brackets. The second group of brackets are telling you what you want to search on, and the first part here is telling you where you want to search on. If you don't give me anything, it will search in the title, which I can actually put here. Okay, and I could also put here field 1. No, that's not. That's field 1, and we had value 1, and it finds the tilde that I have with field 1 and value 1. Okay, so the filtering system is kind of easy, not hard to get your head around. This is just a field. I can add more conditions, basically there and out. I will explain that now. We can have what that also have the tag to do, and I went from 409 to 379. So this is called filter run, where basically you can kind of view it like a tube. In this part here, through the left, we are inserting all of the tilders that exist in the TiddlyWiki. Then this filter gets applied, and out of here we get a subset of 409 tilders. From all of the ones that exist in the TiddlyWiki, we get only 409 that actually have that tag Bordes. Those 409 pass through this filter here, and we get out on this side the 309 that we had on the other side. So let's put that back together again and run through that one more time. So in general, we have this tag 409. Okay, in here on this side all of the tilders came in. We filter 409, and then I filter those 409, and I get 379. We can also do operations. I can put a count here. I think that works. So not only can I see them, okay, I mean, if you see here, I did this. This actually returns the set of 379 tilders I have, but I can continue filtering and operating and working on that list, just like it went through the first filter and the second filter, and I got at the end 379 tilders. I can continue and do more operations. In this case, I'm doing that count that's there, but we could do other operations. For example, if I did this one here and we do 10, let's put a 10 here. Let's try that. This is tag 1 and tag 2, so I can do those. Tiddler example 2. I'm going to edit this one, and I'm going to put here 21. 21. Okay, now I have field 1 as 2 integers, so we can actually put tag 1, which should give me those 2 filters. Tag 1. Why this one? Because I didn't tag this one. Okay, notice that one. I was trying to get example 1 and example 2. So I automatically filtered on the tag with all of the tilders that have tag 1, expecting to get both of them, but I didn't get this one because this one doesn't have tag 1. So I add it here, and now TiddlyWiki is dynamic. Okay, I mean, even before I uploaded, I scrolled back up, it already did the search for me again. Everything is really live in TiddlyWiki. Now I have both of them. So I don't know if I can do this. Let's try this. I'm not sure this works. Not a problem. So field 1. Don't remember how that was. Okay, but we can do that sum. I don't remember how we do that right now, but that can be done. We have widgets for that. Sum. Okay. Probably like this. Yeah, that's the one. Get field 1, sum those 2. What did I do wrong there? Yeah, okay, this one is here. 10 and 21, 31. Wow, magic. Yeah, I mean, it has a learning curve, really. Okay, tag 1, the filters are really powerful. Tag, I'm getting all of the tildes in. I'm searching for the ones that have tag 1. It's giving me these two. I say, okay, get field 1, and it actually shows me that 10 and that 21. And then at the end, I say, okay, sum them up for me. So we're not talking about just knowledge management or kind of just having pieces of information lying around and relating them. We're actually talking about a productive environment that can give you a lot of power and a lot of functionality. And so it's really, really an interesting piece of software. Okay, I mean, and it has a lot of hidden features. I mean, this seems incredible that you can just type this text in here and be summing up values in 2 tildes. I mean, that is kind of more close to a database or an Excel sheet kind of approach than to what TiddlyWiki would appear when you log in for the first time. So it's worth dedicating time. Really, it's a powerful piece of software, really. So these filters are used all over the place. They are also integrated with the widgets, so you can do dynamic lists and things like that. I mean, I don't know if we have, for example, this list here that is showing me the list of all the tildes that have CoreBoss inside. This is a tilde that we actually have in this thing. This is using this list links widget that I showed you before. And we're saying this list links widget is kind of like a macro. It's a set of code that does something for us. And in this case, it's basically saying, okay, execute this filter, which actually gets all of the tildes that have CoreBoss inside, and then sort them by title and create a nice list for me. Okay, so I did not type in all of these links here. No, I just create individual tildes, each one with their own information and their own whatever they need to have. And as I create them and I add the tag, this list in this tilde keeps on growing, keeps on getting bigger or smaller depending on if I delete tilde or not. Okay, so it's not about actually inserting that information yourself. It's about knowing how to use that information and get it out. Okay, so we have the operator. I didn't talk about the operator, but you can also use that. For example, let's get rid of this because that's not going to make sense here, but I can put a no here, and that operator here is kind of changing the functionality. I'm saying actually give me all of the ones that do not have tag 1, which is basically all the rest in the TiddlyWiki, which takes us to another nice place. You see all those tildes there that start with $? Those are not visible tildes. If you want to hide a tilde because you don't need to have it in front of you, you can put that $2 dash and it won't be there. For example, if this boot CSS, if I type this one here, if I put boot CSS, your boot, it doesn't appear. That's not there. But that doesn't mean the tilde doesn't exist. It totally does. If I click on this tilde, it will be there. It has all of this CSS in there. Okay, I mean, this is actually the CSS that TiddlyWiki uses to format the input or the error message or whatever it does. This one does. This is where we go back to that concept of everything is a tilde. Actually, everything in TiddlyWiki is a tilde. I mean, everything. For example, if we want to search for, let's try this one. You see this button up here? This button up here is the information button. It gives me this link where it gives me the backlinks and that thing. I can totally come over here to this link, to this icon. This is the search icon, the configuration icon, where you can kind of get configuration options of TiddlyWiki. As you can see, it is also a tilde. On the appearance and on the toolbars, I have this info here. If you notice, and I click on this one, looking up here, okay, don't lose this reference up here, this eye up here. If I click on this, that eye disappears. Okay, that it left. Basically here, I'm configuring how or what options I want to have on that toolbar button. Okay, but this is actually a tilde itself. If we go back to this advanced search and we come over here to the system search, all of a sudden notice that the advanced search does find this one. If I look for that one, I suppose it would be info. Yeah, probably this one. This one, configuration. Toolbar buttons, that makes a lot of sense. Visibility, which also makes a lot of sense. Is it visible or not? And if it's a core button. Okay, so this tiddler is exactly the tiddler that is telling me if that more information button should be there or not. And as you can see here, it says that it's hidden because that's what I did. If I come here and I say, no, I want to show that, and I save, that button comes back. So the configuration itself, when I click on this button that I was clicking over here, where is that one? This one. Let's see if we can, look at this trick. Okay, I want to show you now how by clicking on this button disappears and the tiddler changes. But I don't have the tiddler on screen. The tiddler's down here. Okay, so I can actually come over here to the open tiddlers, get this tiddler that I want to have on screen, and pull it up on top. So I'm changing the view of the story river by simply dragging and dropping tiddlers around. So again, the hidden functionality, the features that are there are incredible, really incredible. And it's very hard to see. If you don't dedicate time, there is a learning curve. It's kind of hard to get there. Okay, but the power is incredible. So just to show, if I click on this button again, notice how the button disappears and the value of the tiddler actually changed from show to hide. And if I click it back, it comes back. So everything is a tiddler, really. Incredible as it may seem. Okay, let's see what else we have to talk about. Tiddlywiki usage and example. Okay, I did the search. Naming conventions. I talked about that kind of quickly. It's important because not only will you be searching on that information, but you should have a structured kind of way of tagging things, especially, and naming things so that you can easily find them and relate them. For those of you who have been with me for a while, you already know how important naming is in general for me. I mean, things should be correctly named in general, always. They will save you time. If you spend 5 minutes finding a really good name for something, you will save hours going down the road, totally. Because when you come back, you're not going to remember what it was. And if that name is good enough to give you that context when you come back, that's a lifesaver. Okay? So here it's no different. Naming your tiddlers correctly, naming your tags correctly is magical, powerfully magical. Okay, so keep that in mind and use the right names. Capitalization is important. Tiddlywiki is case sensitive. That means that Tiddlywiki Basics is different from Tiddlywiki with a W, capital W. Okay, so be careful with that kind of thing. And same happens with the tags and the like. Okay, extensions. Ticks, okay. Yeah, getting a little long. We're almost there. Extensions. Tiddlywiki as a development environment, because it's not just a wiki, it's also a development environment where you can add functionality. It's an open source project, so you can actually collaborate, translate, do a whole bunch of things. It is multi-language, so you can also do that if you need to. There's not really too much language stuff because most of them are kind of widgets and helpers and things. Everything is really content that you edit in your own tiddler, which you can write in any language you want already anyway. But anyway, the thing is that it is open source. It is a Node.js development project, so if you know JavaScript, you can get in, you can help and work and add whatever you want. But it also has a plugin environment where anybody can learn how to develop a plugin for Tiddlywiki and create and add more functionality. We use a lot of extensions. We kind of look around. There are a lot of people that are doing a lot of amazing stuff out there, and I want to show you 2 or 3 important ones. I'm going to start from the bottom actually, or just kind of jump around. One is the presentation. The presentation that I'm doing here, this tiddler here that actually permits me to kind of flip around and show you oops, I lost it. The styles? No, the slides. What I was looking for. This presentation platform is actually just an extension that I downloaded from a site that somebody created. Each slide that you see here is a tiddler. So if I go to TiddlyWiki extensions, I have this tiddler that has formatting, map, tables, and presentation, and here it's showing me that tiddler in this form. All of the other ones are also tiddlers that I have there. Okay, so the thing about learning about the extensions is that each extension is developed by somebody different, and in that line, whoever developed it created their own UI and their own way of working. So the learning curve starts again. You have to learn how that extension decides to implement things or do whatever it has to do. We have three other ones that I really use a lot. One is the formatting. The plugins, you can see them here. If you click on this cog, the settings things, and you come over here to plugins, you see the plugins that you have installed in your TiddlyWiki. You can install them, you know, going to the light. There's installation instructions and stuff. It's not bad. So for example, here we have the code mirror. That's the one that permitted me to do the JavaScript with the alert and recognize that. Okay, if you don't have this one installed, then it won't work. We use this one a lot, Shiraz, the extended formatting. If you click on this one and open that in another tab, here you have examples of how you can use that. And you see here that you can just put an alert here, and it added that macro, so I can actually do that. I can come over here to the tiddler example 1 and add that here, and I get this nice primary alert here where I can put any text I want here, and I get that information. Okay, so here this extension gives us these outputs and these buttons. In fact, the button that we saw here, the one that I had on the previous tab, on the previous slide, this button is actually doing that. If you look at that one, this tiddler is that one. Okay, this, as you can see. And if you open this one, I have this badge here with the danger on the capitalization. That's how I managed to do this red capitalization button. Okay, it's basically this danger link here. So I'm using this extension. So again, installing the extension is rather easy. Now, learning to use the extension is another thing. Okay, because you have to actually kind of come here, read and understand, get the right format, and copy, copy paste, and it does a lot of things. You can do. I mean, this one has a lot of nice functionality in there. Tables and searches and a whole bunch of things. So the learning curve actually depends on that. In that line, we have the maps, which we do not have installed in this one, but we can come over here probably. Yeah, this is the sandbox that we use. We have our own sandbox where you can connect and test and play and do whatever you want. To edit in this one, you have to click on this button here, on this link here, sorry. This link will ask you for the your credentials, and once you do that, you will be able to edit. If not, you can't edit. See, now I have that plus and the edit and all that stuff, which I did not have in this version here. The map actually gives me a view of related information. It's not very good. Live my view. But I can connect with Mayan. Let me see, where's Mayan? Can I do this one here? Click. No. Yeah, this is coming in, I think. Let's see if this one works. I should have opened this one before. Yeah, it's coming. This is my personal TiddlyWiki. And this is the map view. Okay, this map that I was showing you here. This one actually permits you, I don't really, I have another example. Wait, this is a wonderful piece of work that Andrea has done. This one looks really nice. Where is this one? Map. Okay, that's what a map is for, to kind of organize your ideas and see what kind of information you have in your TiddlyWiki. Okay, in this case, we're talking about core bus modules and relations between them and the fields and all that stuff, and as you can see, a really nice view of the information. And this one is still working, but we'll get back to that one as soon as it renders. And the last one is the tables. We have a table extension, which is this one over here. It adds this button, and then it adds some information. For example, we have here in this core boss, we have a to-do summary stats. Okay, we have this table here, this table view, where we are grouping all of the core boss things that we have to do, 379. 30 of them are security, actually 41 are security, because 11 are, these 11 are probably included in there, anyway, whatever, these are the security ones. And here we actually have the list of all of those tilders. So you can actually open them here and see what is this particular tildler is about, and you can relate them. Again, this all depends really on the functionality of the extension. Okay, this extension was developed by somebody, and they decided how they wanted to do things. Mostly the tildler itself is empty, and everything happens here in this cog. Here you set what records you want to use, and as you can see here, this is a filter. It's actually filtering on the core boss. Okay, we say here that we don't want system tilders. We want any tildler that has a to-do tag and a core boss tag, and then we want to apply to the ones that come out of this part of the filter run. We want to apply a regular expression depending on some other tilders here, their content. Okay, it's kind of a complex thing, but these regular expressions are continuously filtering on the way through the run and applying the priority status and assigned to options that I have up here. So if I want to see what is doing or what is done, I can kind of click here and it gives me that option to filter on them. Anyway, as you can see here, that's the filter. Then we can see what columns we want to show on the table, how we want to sort those rows, the tilders that come out, if we want pagination, if we want different styles, features, captions on the table, whatever. Okay, so how do you create a table like this? Again, it really depends a lot on the extension itself. I personally have to go to their page and look for it every time, or come here or to some other tables that we have around and copy paste, kind of get that knowledge out of an example that I had before, more than actually knowing how to do it. Okay, I mean, the basic concept is filter, column, and grouping, but the exact format and way of doing things, it's more a question of going there and learning how to do it than actually knowing myself how to do that. Okay, yeah, which could be better, but okay, we get where we get. And that's about it. Quick paste, let's do that one. This one is, okay, this one stops when I move. Okay. Anyway, it's done. This is my personal TiddlyWiki. Let's fit that in. It's probably a reflection of my mind, actually. 1, 2, okay, come on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not bad for a man. 8 ideas at the same time. Okay, anyway, as you can see, maps are really, really nice, really powerful. It's a nice way of seeing, grouping things around. I can kind of, scroll in here and see what is the information. That's kind of stuck. What information is floating around in my mind. Okay, so last details that I want to share with you. TiddlyWikis can be really easy to share information. Okay, this is the TiddlyWiki online. As you can see, they actually have, Jeremy has a TiddlyWiki as the website, so you can actually even use it and download it and everything. So that's nice. You use your own dog food kind of concept. So I can actually come over here to the recent ones and get this Tiddler example 2, and I can drag it over here to this TiddlyWiki. You see that all of a sudden I have that drop now there up on top, and if I drop this Tiddler into this TiddlyWiki, I can import it, and it's here now. It imported the tag and the contents and the fields. Field 1, field 2, exactly the same. So actually sharing information between tiddlers is that mind-blowing easy. Even more magical is that I can actually come over here and get, let's close this one, and get this tag 1, the tag itself, drag that over to the TiddlyWiki, and it brings in all of the tiddlers that have that tag. In this case, tiddler 1, tiddler 2. Tiddler 2 is going to be, tiddler 2 is already here, so it tells me. But I actually, that easily I can drag in totally a whole set of tiddlers from one TiddlyWiki to another. Really, really powerful stuff. Really, really powerful. Dragging and dropping is used in general. You can drag in images and PDFs and stuff like that. That kind of works also. Has some glitches, but usually, especially images, work really nice. The concept of data tiddlers. Data tiddlers are the concept that I already showed you about the field, where you actually have a whole bunch of information in the tiddlers. You can use them as templates, add as many fields as you want, show them, show the fields on other tiddlers, whatever you need, that kind of thing. And the last one is this quick paste. I don't know if we have that one here. We have that one in DevTechOps for sure, I think. Where is this one? That would be quick paste, server quick check. No, where is this? Installation quick, got to link, server, no, link, paste URL to TiddlyWiki, this one. Okay, this tiddler, for those of you that don't have access to this TiddlyWiki, this tiddler is around. It's probably in other places. If you want it and you don't find it, just ask me. It's not in all core bus, but we can actually bring it over. So I can come over here to the open tab, get this one, move it over here to TiddlyWiki, and now all of a sudden paste URL to TiddlyWiki is also in the all core bus TiddlyWiki. What does this do? Basically, this link here, you drag this up here into the bar, into your toolbar here, and you get this paste to TiddlyWiki button. Okay, I already had one, so I'm going to actually get rid of this one, but it's that easy to put up there. And once you have it, I can go to any website I want. Let's go to corebus.org, so we kind of make it really original. And I can click on this paste to TiddlyWiki, and what I get is this nice box which gives me already the URL of this page with the title already formatted. So I can just copy it, go over to my TiddlyWiki, and just paste it in to get the, okay, because we have 2 slashes there, and I get that link. Okay, that is basically how I create all of my references. When I'm running around and playing the CTO part, and I'm trying to learn as much information about software that's out there and functionality that's there, and there are things that I don't want to lose from my mind, I basically just press on that paste Tiddly and put it into my personal TiddlyWiki with some reference or some explanation or whatever, and I create that enormous database of knowledge that I have there, which makes me look really good when somebody asks me something when I'm actually really just searching in my TiddlyWiki. It's not really that magical, but okay. Anyway, so if I got that right, the only thing that's left is a bunch of references that I have here. The most important one is Grok TiddlyWiki. That is where your next stop is. Grok TiddlyWiki is a wonderful, wonderful piece of work that will teach you and take you to the next step in your TiddlyWiki journey. It's wonderful, really, really well explained. A lot of the information that I shared with you today is here in this TiddlyWiki. It does examples and it teaches you. I mean, it actually has exercises so you can do it, and then it also has a reference guide, so it's actually the next place to work. I use it a lot. Even now I still go there to search and remind myself how to do things. The forum, ask for help. Jitter also, ask for help and collaborate with people. And these last 2 is just to say that TiddlyWiki is not the only player out there. There are a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. TiddlyWiki is something that I like a lot. I have really, I mean, it's the really first piece of software that I really am using consistently. I've been using it for over 1.5 years now, or more. I don't know if it's 1.5 years or 2 years and a half now, I'm not sure. but it is one of the pieces of software that I really have kept on using. I mean, I've used a lot of wikis, I've used a lot of mind maps, a lot of online tools, and I've always kind of grown out of them. They just didn't live up to what I was needing or what I was expecting. And up to now, TiddlyWiki has not ceased to surprise me. And what mostly I trust is the fact that when I actually am searching for something, I kind of just go there and it's there. It's kind of easy to find, and that is really reassuring. Really, really, really reassuring. Anyway, another one that I would really like to investigate is Tellery. Tellery looks very nice. Basic concept, same. You kind of have concepts and ideas and knowledge that you kind of push around, and you get information from here and there. You can see here that it actually connects to your database and brings in graphs and data, and the look and feel is really nice. Kind of drag and drop things around. But it is definitely not at the level. I mean, okay, it's nicer looking than TiddlyWiki, but it is not at the TiddlyWiki level at all. Thank you for your patience. If you have any questions or need anything, reach out to me. I will try to answer as I can. And thanks for watching. Have a wonderful afternoon.